All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most critical decisions any business leader has to make. We're going to build a real consultant-level playbook to help figure out this strategic puzzle. Should you build a capability in-house or should you outsource it? It really all boils down to this one powerful question: build or buy. For pretty much any function in your company, should you develop it yourself with your own team, or should you go find an expert and pay them to do it? And listen, this isn't just about saving a few bucks. This is a massive strategic choice that shapes your competitive edge, your entire cost structure, and even the culture of your company. So, to get to the right answer, we need a game plan. First, we'll nail down the core dilemma itself. Then we'll define our two main options. After that, I'll introduce you to a really powerful four-pillar framework to analyze the situation. We'll see it in action, weigh the risks on both sides, and then finally, pull it all together into a clear process so you can make your own strategic choice. Okay, let's dive in. First things first, we have to frame this problem the right way. A lot of people just think of this as a simple cost-benefit calculation. But honestly, that's way too simple. The real decision here gets to the very heart of what your business is, and more importantly, what you want it to become. Think of it like a balancing act. On one side, you have control. That's having direct oversight, making sure everything aligns with your company culture, keeping your data secure. On the other side, you've got cost. But it's also about things like getting access to world-class experts and being able to scale up fast. Every single decision to insource or outsource is basically a strategic bet on which side of that scale is going to create the most value for you. So with that big trade-off in mind, let's get into our next section and get super clear on the two paths you can actually take. Nailing these definitions down is going to be the foundation for our entire analysis. Path number one is going in-house. You'll also hear this called insourcing. This is your classic build-it-yourself model. You hire the people, you use your own equipment, your own offices, and that function becomes a totally integrated part of your organization. Basically, you own that capability lock, stock, and barrel. And the other path, of course, is outsourcing. This is the buy model. In this case, you find a specialist, a third-party expert, and you sign a contract for them to handle a specific part of your business for you. You're not building the capability yourself. You're essentially renting their expertise and their infrastructure. Now, this is where it gets really interesting when you put them side by side. Going in-house gives you that amazing level of control, and the team bleeds your company colors. But that comes with higher fixed costs. We're talking salaries, benefits, office space that you have to pay no matter what. On the flip side, outsourcing turns those fixed costs into variable ones. That gives you a ton of flexibility. But there's a trade-off. Your control isn't based on your mission anymore. It's defined by the four corners of a legal contract. Okay, so we've got our options defined. But now the big question is, how do we actually decide? For a decision this important, a simple pros and cons list just isn't going to cut it. We need a more structured, more analytical way to think about this, a proper strategic framework. The whole point here is to make sure our analysis is what we'd say in the consulting world, MICE. That's mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. It just means we cover all the important angles without repeating ourselves. And our framework is going to do exactly that by focusing on four key pillars. And here they are. First, strategic control. You have to ask yourself, how critical is this function to our secret sauce? And are we dealing with sensitive data? Second, financial implications. What's the real total cost? And hey, are there maybe some hidden ways to make money here? Third, operational capability. Let's be honest, can we actually be the best in the world at this, or is there a specialist out there we just can't compete with? And finally, pillar 4, risk mitigation. What's the worst that could happen with either choice, and how bad would it be? Look, a framework is only useful if it actually works in the real world. So, let's put this 4-pillar model to the test. We're going to see how it brings a ton of clarity to some actual business scenarios. This quote from Investopedia just nails the most common reason to outsource. For a ton of small and medium-sized businesses, things like payroll or IT support, they're absolutely necessary, but they're not what makes the business special. So outsourcing lets them get professional-grade service without the crazy cost of a full-time in-house team that might just be sitting around half the time. It's a classic case of prioritizing the financial and operational pillars. But now, let's flip the script. Let's look at a fascinating case study on the other side of the coin that shows the incredible strategic power you can get by keeping a function in-house, even when it's not what your company is famous for. Okay, let's run Ford's decision to create Ford Credit through our framework. Pillar 1, strategic control. By doing it themselves, Ford gets total ownership of the customer's financing experience.
And, this is huge, they get all the data that comes with it. Massive advantage. Pillar 2, financial implications. This isn't just a cost for them, it's a massive profit driver that makes money from interest payments. Operationally, they built a world-class skill in auto financing that directly helps them sell more cars by making it easier for people to buy. And for risk, yeah, they take on the risk of defaults, but they also reduce their dependence on outside banks who might tighten up lending right when Ford needs to sell cars. It's a total strategic masterstroke.
So what does this all boil down to? It's pretty clear when you look at it this way. The reasons for choosing are just fundamentally different. When having control over a core part of your business is priority number one, you build it in-house. When you're focused on saving money and getting access to specialized skills for something that's not core, you go out and buy it. It's really that simple.
Now, no good analysis is complete without taking a hard, honest look at the risks. So far, we've mostly talked about the upsides. Now we have to do our due diligence and really dig into the potential downsides of both of these paths. Building in-house is definitely not risk-free. You've got the high fixed costs of salaries and benefits. That's the obvious one. But the sneakier risk is the resource drain. Every dollar, every hour of your top leadership's time that's spent on a non-core function is a dollar and an hour you're not spending on what makes your business win. You also risk ending up with a team that's just okay, not a world-class specialist. And for smaller companies, this is a big one. You could end up paying for expensive talent that doesn't have enough work to do. And outsourcing, well, it has its own scary list of risks. First and foremost, you lose direct control. You can't just walk down the hall to check in with the team. You're also handing over sensitive company data to someone else, which is a big security concern. Their standards for quality might not be the same as yours, and that can really hurt your brand. And you better have a good lawyer, because if something isn't spelled out perfectly in that contract, you could find yourself in a really tough spot.
All right, we've defined the problem, we've looked at the options, we've walked through a framework, and we've weighed the risks. It's time to bring it all home. Let's move from just analyzing to creating a clear, actionable way to make this decision.
So how do you actually do this? It comes down to this straightforward 4-step process. First, be brutally honest. Is this function part of your secret sauce, or is it just a supporting role? Second, run it through that 4-pillar framework we talked about. Look at it from every single angle. Third, you have to consciously weigh the trade-offs. Admit that there's no perfect answer, and you're just trying to find the best fit. And finally, step 4, make the call. Pick the path that's going to make your business stronger in the long run. At the end of the day, there is no one-size-fits-all answer here. The right choice for a giant company like Ford is going to be totally different than the right choice for a 5-person startup. The key is making a decision that is deeply connected to your company's unique vision, your size, and what you're actually trying to achieve. Which leaves us with one last powerful question to think about. When it comes to the things that truly make your business special, your real competitive advantage, do you want to own and control that destiny yourself, or are you willing to rent it from somebody else? The answer to that question will tell you pretty much everything you need to know